giant urethra.
And that's how we started off our podcast. I'm Brandon Ryder, and this is Andy Bottom. He is a giant urethra. So when he takes a pee, the pee just falls out of him. There's no stream. It's just like it's done.
Yeah, it's called Niagara Falls.
And how did this happen? Tell me why this is occurring.
Well, I put the Budweiser in my system, and it was like, yep, we're coming back out the other end. I go, all right, well, get ready for a
surprise.
Yeah, the thing that's shitty is I'm sending up pissing, and it's so big that it's hitting the toilet, the water, and it's pissing. I have to like wipe my legs after I take a piss because the force is so crazy. I have to like take a towel.
Is it like
every time I have to put it in the fucking washer and wash it?
Is it like taking a bucket and just turning it upside down in the toilet?
Yeah, that's what it is. Except for you have to put more. Well, for some reason, it doesn't come out like gravity. It's getting shoved out too on top of. Like, take a water bucket and then blow it with, like, a potato gun. It's like that. So, I gotta wipe everything off when I'm done, which kind of sucks.
Do you have to wipe down the floor, clean off the toilet a little bit, wipe your legs off?
Yeah, I have to take a shower every time.
Have you ever tried?
I take the shower head and I spray it all over, and then I wipe everything down. So, I was like, I gotta take a piss. It's like I'm taking a dump. Like, that's how long it takes. Because I have to wipe everything down.
So why don't you just sit down so that you prevent that from happening? Or is it so powerful it'll splash up between your legs and get you in the face?
Nope, because it'll actually lift my cheeks off the toilet seat. So I'm like hovering like Rigel from Farscape.
But are your legs bent at 90 degrees or are they sticking like straight out?
No, I don't stick them straight out because it's weird.
No. If you were hovering, would your legs be straight out?
No, it'd be like I'm sitting in a chair. My amphibia would be 45-degree angle from my femur, so it would be just like a sitting in a chair. But I'd be swinging my legs too, at the same time.
You just swing your legs like you're on a swing set, like you're having a time. Oh, this is fun.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right, so we should talk about something, a subject besides peeing. What would you like to talk about?
Anything but that. Let's see. What can we talk about?
Cats.
Yeah, I mean, cats. I got 2 cats. Yes. They're a pain in my ass, but love them to death. Got a flame point Siamese and a gray tabby cat.
But that's not the only cats that are in your house. You have a third one, the orange one.
Yeah. It's an orange tabby, and he's an old guy, old Henry.
He's not as old as my cat.
He's up there, dude. Like, he's got to be, I don't know how old. Dude, Henry's got to be within a year of spawn. I swear to God.
The spawn turned 7. He turned 17 in October.
Huh.
And
all right. Well, Henry's pushing 15. So, let's see, 2000. Yeah, about 2002. Yeah. So Spawn's fucking old, dude.
Yeah, he still moves around pretty good. Like I don't really see his age. Although, I told you last year one of his fangs broke off, so I called him Fang because he had one fang, and then the other broke off last week, and so now he's fangless. It actually makes his face cuter because those fangs aren't making his lips protrude out. So he's got like where you look at him straight on, his face is a little bit more narrow. So it looks more like a cartoon cat.
Oh, okay. So he kind of looks like a Siamese cat with the long nose. Is that what you're talking about?
Not like a long nose. His face is just cuter because he doesn't have those saber tooths sticking his lips out far. Because he had long fangs. Like I think that's why they broke off because his fangs were overgrown. They go like almost to the bottom of his chin. It was weird. He looked like a saber tooth tiger. I start talking about him. He comes up in my face right now. There he is, right here.
Dude, the cat's a monster, man.
Yeah, he's big.
That's probably the biggest cat I've ever seen, to be honest.
When he
I
stand,
don't know what that puppy weighs, but it's not. It's just he's not like fat. His bone structure, his fucking skull is massive. It's like a 20-pound dog, almost. Fucking monster, dude. I've never seen that shit in my life.
When he stands on his hind legs, he's like 3.5 feet tall. He's like his head is like in my waistline. He's like a little person.
That's crazy. He actually lived to that age, 17.
Yeah, he's still got a few years in him. He's not senile or doesn't like walk decrepit or anything. So.
Yeah, I remember Fred went senile one time. Like sad. Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, it's I wasn't a cat man until I moved down here to Florida from Colorado, as my neighbor would say, calls everything with the ER. But yeah, when I first moved here, there was a gray tabby. He was hanging around the house. I'm sleeping in my room. Scratched on the house. Went outside and went, "Get out of here," because Henry doesn't like any cats, so he ran off. And then eventually,
He's a cat snob.
Yeah. He like hisses at every cat, even though they won't play with them. They rush up against him with their tail, and he goes, he hisses at him, and it's huge. He hisses so hard he like almost spits on him. He's like, holy shit, dude, chill out. And Henry's a little small.
Remember, remember 5 years ago when Spawn was there with me, and he'd walk by Henry and he'd hide underneath the table and go, and then at night.
Henry would.
Yeah, and at night, that's when Spawn was still pretty wild. He'd go on rampages like every night. And then that middle of the night, you hear this, and he's running up the wall, and then climbed up on top of that ledge. And all the animals in the house, all your animals were like basically hiding underneath the table because they thought there was a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah, Spawn's in the house.
Because he goes on rampages at night, like he gets a wild hair up his ass. Starts going and runs up and down the hallway. And back then, 5 years ago, he was pretty athletic still. He was jumping up the walls and fucking onto the counter.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
The other animals thought they were gonna die that night.
Yeah, well, he's not a small cat either. He's twice as big as your normal cat. So it's like having a goddamn fucking bobcat in there. Like, the animals were freaked out because they thought a fucking bobcat was in the goddamn house.
Yeah, not only is it a bobcat, it's going on a rampage.
Yeah. Wow. Holy shit, he's stuck to the side of the goddamn wall near the ceiling. What the fuck is that? Yeah, that cat's awesome though. He's real nice.
So if you have your door shut and those cats, do they claw at your door to try to get in at night? Like, let me in, meow?
Well,
let me in, right, meow?
I keep Jackson here. He's the gray tabby. He's like small. He's pretty small. But he's, I keep him in here. And then Leo, he's a white flame point Siamese. He just wants to, I keep him, bring him in, I have to shut the door, but he grabs under the fucking door and just like starts slamming it back and forth because there's got a little bit of play when the door's shut, so you can actually take your hand and like if you're strong enough, if you're a cat and you're strong enough, you can jerk that door and it goes boom, 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 boom. So it sounds like somebody's punching the door, and I'm like, knock it off. So like it freaked me out. I was in a deep sleep, and he's like, he put his hand on the door and he's pulling it. He's like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Let me in, right? Meow.
Oh, that's Leo, you fucking. So
Let me in, right? Meow.
Oh, he's not as big as Spawn, but he's smaller. But he's a pretty decent sized cat. He just pulls that toy and goes boom, 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 boom. I'm like, all right, fucking asshole, you're out of here. So I let him out, and he's always like crying. He wants fucking food all the time. And I don't have one of those like electric collars, So like when they go up, the food like comes out or whatever. Like my sister has one.
Oh,
So
Andy, there's a lot of people that I don't have one of those. A lot of people don't have those. Those are for yuppies that can buy anything they want to. And I'm sure whenever whenever we make money off this and the YouTube videos that we're creating and all that stuff, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna get him an electric collar so the food comes out. But the problem with that is he'll walk by the thing all the time to get as much food as he wants. So he'll just sit there.
That's what I'm wondering. How does that fucking work? Like,
he'll just sit there and wait for it to keep pouring out. Because Spawn will eat the entire bowl of food if you give it to him. That's why I ration his food so he doesn't get fat.
Yeah, so like when you walk up, is it like a timer? Like,
no, it's probably like a magnetic sensor. It's probably a magnetic sensor.
Yeah, but well, if the cat's smart enough, he could just sit there at the food thing. Like you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's just.
No, they got to be smarter than that, though. That you think they can do that? I don't know, man. I don't know anything about that. So
what it is probably it gives a certain amount of food when you walk up to it, right? But the cat will figure out that if you walk away from it and come back to it, it's going to pour more food out. So you'll see the cat. He'll walk up.
Yeah.
He'll walk up to it. Oh, walk away. Walk back up to it. Walk away. Walk back up to it.
Yeah, the cat. I mean, if that's possible, then that shit's not going to work at all. So I don't understand, because my sister has one, and it.
I think it's just for people being lazy, not feeding, like pouring food in a bowl. I think it's for the. I think it's for the human, not for the cat. I think it's the human laziness is what it's designed for, not for the cat actually.
Yeah, and if you got money and you want to just go, let's do this.
Yeah, you remember we talked about robots. We talked about robots before, and that's what that is. It's a robotic cat feeder. Fuck, they're making robotic cat feeders. Because you're too lazy to pour a bag of food in the bowl.
Well, they need to make robotic ass wipers too. While they're at it.
Yeah, you're too lazy to wipe your own ass, so your cyber sex doll wipes your ass for you. And she's like, "Oh, that is gross. Do not do that again." And you're like, "Oops, I did it again. What are you gonna do about it?" "I'm gonna wipe your ass and tell you that I do not like it."
You say, "Oops, I did it again," like Britney Spears.
Yeah, well, she's blonde and ditzy, so her head goes side to side. Her head goes side to side like, "Oops, I did it again."
Oops, I did it again.
This poop is so toxic.
She walks in and she's like, "Why does this smell like shit in here?"
It smells like shit. It's so gross.
I had feces come out my asshole.
You humans are so gross. Now it's time to kill you.
It's like she's malfunctioning. Oh, you smell like shit in here. When you're done, I will suck your dick.
This smell of shit is turning me on because that's how you programmed me.
Oh God. Yeah. You're like, oh God, it's horrible.
She walks in. "Hi, my love. Do you want a Blumpkin right now?" "I'll be more than glad to suck your cock while you're taking a mean shit that smells like shit."
A Blumpkin. God.
"How about reverse cowgirl while you sit on the toilet?" "I will put my cowboy hat on. Hold on 1 second, please."
A Teddy Blumpkin. It's called.
This is it's robotic. Teddy Blumpkin.